there, Commercial Construction Coffee Talk fans. Thanks for chiming in. My name's David Corson. I'm your host. I'm also the publisher editor of Commercial Construction and Renovation magazine. Thanks for chiming in to Commercial Construction Coffee Talk. Thanks for finding us on the web. Hope you all had a great weekend. Myself, season-ending old guys lacrosse tournament. Played yesterday in 2:30 in about 95-degree weather without a breeze in the air. Went down 7-5 in the first game, so I had to play in the 5:30 in the losers bracket, but we won that game, so I ended the season on a positive note and got a set of plastic steak knives, not the trophy, but we'll use them. And the dog days of summer, still really hot here in Atlanta. Can't wait for the fall to come in. Hopefully you're going to be playing some football down here in the South. SEC's king. I don't know what they're going to do if they don't play, but hopefully they will. Hope you're all also staying safe out there, washing your hands, don't touch your face. Looks like the spike's coming down. Corona's kind of dwindling. It's still out there, I know, but school started. Some are in school, some are doing only online, some are doing the hybrid gig, but at least they're going back to school. So that's a positive. So everybody, once again, thanks for chiming in. Got a great episode tonight. So we're going to talk energy, lighting, HVAC controls, how to control your costs. Got a great gentleman out of the great state of Texas. His name is Jon Bolen. He's the CEO of Entouch. Say hi, John, to our listeners out there.
Hey, guys. Thanks, Dave. Great to be here. Looking forward to tonight.
And you're out of Dallas, correct?
That's right. Just north of Dallas, a little town called McKinney, Texas.
And it's hot down there, I'm sure, right?
It is very hot here in Texas.
Yeah. Well, I'm in sizzling hot ATL, so I know it's hot and humid, and I know what kind of weather. So you and I are both in the same boat.
Absolutely.
So John, the reason why I actually like John's product is it's really a cost-cutting gig, because if you're a brand out there, whether you're a retailer, a hotelier, multi-site operator, if there's a way that you can cut your costs on your budget, whether it's lighting, HVAC, energy, just by a small percentage point, you've got hundreds of locations or thousands or even a half dozen, you can actually, it all adds up at the end, and you can actually save some money because it all adds up at the end of the year. And that's really why I wanted John on here to talk about his product line, how he goes about, promoting it and helping building owners run their facilities the most efficient way that they can, as well as save money and energy. And we all want to save energy, to protect the planet and climate control and all that stuff. So, John, we always start out, you got to tell your story. Don't leave any skeletons out there. We want to know everything. But we want to know where you grew up, about your parents, where you went to high school, college, how you got into energy controls and all that good stuff. So the floor is yours.
Well, thanks, Dave. It's funny. We've all heard of, the military brat. Well, I was a J.C. Penney brat during the golden age of retail.
Oh, wow.
I was born in Puerto Rico, where my dad was part of a team that opened the first store on the island. We moved back to Florida, and during my adolescent and teenage years, my dad ran stores from Fort Walton Beach to Biscayne Boulevard to Fort Myers. It was a really interesting upbringing. He worked 6 days a week, 10 to 12 hours a day. If I wanted to see him, I had to go to work with him. And so what was interesting is by the time I'm 14, I'm doing merchandise resets overnight, resetting a luggage department or resetting the children's department. And it really, that whole retail, kind of being a merchant kind of got into my veins. And what's interesting is I end up going to the University of Florida, and my dad somehow saw his career as being a merchant as being something less than professional. So he's like, you can't go into retail. You can't do this. You need to go to law school. And so he convinces me, as I'm graduating from the University of Florida, to go to law school. So
what was your degree there?
Got a degree in marketing from the University of Florida.
Okay.
And I show up at Emory University. I'm in the top 10% of my class. It gets about spring break of my first year, and I hated it. Like I hated it, every minute of it. And I was doing really well. I've always been really good at school, but I just didn't enjoy it. Here I am, I'm newly married. I decided to leave law school. And by the way, I've been married now it'll be 30 years this March. So
Congrats.
this story ends well, right? So, but my wife's about to kill me. I'm newly married. She's like, look, I get that you don't want to be an attorney, but you're going to have to get after it. So I'm getting my tires changed at an NTV or a discount tire. And this Harvard MBA sits down next to me. I don't know that till the end of this, but he convinces me to go to work for Waffle House. And so I'm thinking, hey, I don't have to go to school right now. I can just go to work for Waffle House. This is a Harvard MBA. He's working at Waffle House. It turns out a lot of folks don't know it, but
So which Waffle House was it in Atlanta?
I actually ran the one up at Peachtree Corners.
Oh yeah, right there, Jimmy Carr, just south.
Yeah, well, north. The next one north. So I ran that one, and then one up at 141, and oh my gosh, up in Duluth.
Yeah, I know. Listen, I live in Swanee, so I know them all.
Oh, so you know the one I'm talking about. So sure enough, I go to work for Waffle House. They called me a manager. That's basically a short order cook. I mean, let's be honest. You run a Waffle House, you are a short order cook. And I did that for about a year, and I realized that obviously I had a ton of unfinished business, but I wasn't sure I wanted to be an attorney. So I went back to Emory and I got my MBA, and I loved every minute of it. But disappointed my dad twice, because while I'm there, I get the retail bug again. I interned with NCR in their retail group up in Duluth. My first job out of grad school was with Racetrack Petroleum, and helping them kind of reinvent how they ran their business from a technology perspective. I then bounced to Radiant Systems, which is a point of sale technology company wholly focused on petroleum convenience store at the time, movie theaters and restaurants. And so
those guys were in Alpharetta.
Absolutely, based in Alpharetta, right there off Old Milton.
I know them all. NCR, they moved from Dayton down here. They took that big, beautiful grass field acreage, that park right on Satellite Boulevard.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And so sure enough, I'm at Radiant Systems. I am pretty much like a fully minted Alex P. Keaton from Family Ties. I think that my job is just to work hard. I'm killing it, and I'm supposed to just work really hard and just run a big part of a big company, because that's what you're sort of programmed to do. And eventually, after fixing the product development group at Radiant Systems, I get frustrated. We're getting ready to deliver a product to Europe. We don't have any leadership in Europe. I look at the COO of Radiant Systems and I say, look, we're going to get killed in Europe if we don't send somebody over there to run that office. And you know what? If I thought you'd send me for a second, I'd go. And he looks at me and says, really? And off to Europe I go. And while I'm in Europe, I have this epiphany, because I'm building this business. I become friends with another American there. We're having a drink, and he looks at me and he says, so tell me what it is you do. And I said, well, I'm the managing director of EMEA for Radiant Systems. And he said, what's that mean? Like, I have literally no idea what you just said. And it really made me pause, right? Because here I am in my mid-30s. I legitimately think I'm on the way to something. And I was a relatively successful person at Radiant, but I really couldn't answer this question in a crisp way. And so I thought about it, and I reflected on my successes at Radiant and at Racetrack and what I was doing in Europe. And I said, I guess I just sort of fix things. And I manage organizations and I fix them. And then when I'm done fixing them, sometimes I decide to go fix another one. And from there, I joined a software company back in Arizona, a company called Trax Retail Solutions, a business intelligence software platform focused on retail. I fixed it. A company named March Networks bought it. Got recruited to go to a company called Westech Intelligent Surveillance. Became their chief product officer. Helped fix what they were doing in a short 7 years. And while I was there, we were bought by Interface Security, and I realized that I enjoyed the fixing part, but there wasn't something where I could just say to my kids, man, I did that. And you should be proud of that. I mean, I did some cool stuff. I mean, I helped create a video as a service product offering at Westech. I helped create some really cool pieces of software in the retail space. But I then met the founders of Entouch. And these were some really bright guys that were changing the way we ran buildings. And they're sort of saving the planet and tackling climate change at the same time. And they had really struggled to create this technology-enabled service and scale the business. And I started talking to the leadership team and the investors, and I thought, I just want to go do that. Like, that's something I want to tell my kids about, that we could do something different and really make a difference. And so that was 2013. And there's like 10 or 12 people in the building, right? I had run a European business unit, been part of a $150 to $200 million company. We're like $1 million company with 10 or 12 people walking around. And I will tell you again, bless her heart, my wife's still married to me. I went home and I said, so I think I'm going to take this job. And I think it's going to be really exciting because we can do something really special. And that started a great journey at Intouch, right? We went from those 10 or 12 people to building out this very tightly integrated suite of hardware and software. And we really do create a path to a healthier planet by helping drive sustainability goals, reducing energy, which, and you pointed out earlier, driving profitability and simplifying what these facility folks have to deal with when they're managing these large multi-site portfolios. I mean, essentially we're, improving the planet, making them more profitable, just one building at a time.
Jon, you are a short order cook at Waffle House. I give you all the credit in the world. The All-Star Breakfast was my favorite. So right there saying that you did that, okay,
Yeah.
I've got total respect for you, okay? And I know all you Waffle House people know exactly what I'm talking about, okay? Because that man who's cooking, he's running that joint, okay? It's not the waitresses that taking the orders or, hey,
Nope.
You're doing everything. You're cooking, smattered, covered, smothered, so
Oh, absolutely.
right there I have respect for you.
Absolutely. It was an incredible lesson in how to manage people. And oh, by the way, how to cook the heck out of some eggs.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, everything's going great this year. I do my summit in January, most attendance I ever had. I do my event in February for my networking down in Miami. I do my site visit for my hotel for the following year. And then I'm traveling, do a couple shows. I'm up in Milwaukee in March, the second week, and Tom Hanks gets the bug and everything gets canceled and the whole country shuts down. Boom! It's like dead stop. And I work out of my house, so I'm used to being hunkered down. So it really didn't affect me the way that I operated, except, I didn't know if anybody was furloughed or laid off, and everything was just in limbo. And so it was a very interesting 2 or 3 months. So talk about yourself as far as your own company, because everybody was humming until beginning of March. It was like going to be the greatest year ever.
We were literally having we had the best January and February we had in the history of our company. We actually had, knock on wood, probably the best first half we've had in the history of our company. We'll struggle to make those same kind of gains in the second half. I mean, the most incredible anecdote is a gentleman I've worked with for many years. And obviously I've worked in a lot of early stage companies and whatnot. And he sat down with me in March and he said, we've been working so hard on this business and we built this forecast. And he said, I have never felt so confident and so excited about hitting a forecast in my entire career. And he looks at me and goes, a pandemic? Are you kidding? Seriously? Yeah. A pandemic is going to be why? And so we were all obviously caught a little bit flat footed. And I closed the office in March, and I think like everybody else, I thought, all right, so we just got to figure out how to sort this out for the next 4 to 6 weeks. Maybe it's 8 to 12. And I and my CFO, we start doing all the crazy scenario planning. Anybody who's kind of followed all this, your spreadsheet after spreadsheet. What do we need to do here? What do we have to do here? How are our employees going to do? I mean, number one, we didn't lay anybody off.
Good for you.
We were able to do everything we needed to do for our employees. April and May were really hard, and for us, it was made a little bit harder. Right? So the revenue goes. I don't want to say for us it didn't go to zero, but it went way down.
Oh no! I mean, listen, unless you were Amazon,
like turn off the lights.
Non-existent.
But for us, we provide a service where not only do we put the solution in our customers' facilities, but we're managing it for them, and they're cutting their staff. And so you've got a vice president of facilities that might have had 5 regional facilities guys with a couple of folks under them, and all of them are gone except for the VP of facilities. And so my team had to step in and fill the gap, right? So we became this force multiplier. Because they had the technology, we could do things like change their schedules almost immediately to reduce the amount of energy that they were using when they started to shutter sites. But they had to change it across all of their sites in one fell swoop. But then they start to open some back up, and then maybe they close them down. Then, we have some fitness clients that had to go to schedules where they're open for an hour, closed for an hour, open for an hour, closed for an hour to manage cleaning. So we had to help them put all of those schedules in place. And imagine managing thousands of rooftop packages across hundreds of locations. And you have to create a unique schedule for every single one just so you can operate your business.
Mm-hmm.
And without technology in place, you couldn't do that. It's so that was the first thing that I would say was we took care of our employees, and then our employees rushed to take care of our customers. But we went into it with that, to be over in 4 to 6 weeks, 8 to 12 weeks. And I had this moment over the summer where, I realized we had to stop waiting for it to be over. So oddly, and I say that because of my build, I'm an avid cyclist. My wife and I are avid cyclists. We ride, probably 100 to 150 miles a week on the bikes. And we know we're odd because people who don't cycle look at people who do cycle and they're like, you're odd. But that said, we do something even more odd, which is we ride on gravel roads whenever we can, and we'll just open up a map and go, let's just see what's down this road, put in a GPS and just go. Mm-hmm. And when you do that, you're exploring sort of this unknown route. And you know what? More often than not, there's a bunch of damn hills, and I hate hills. I don't go up a hill very well at all under my own power on a bike. But we have found some of the coolest places by doing that, seen some of the greatest roads, and we've tested ourselves in ways that we never thought we would. And when we finish, like in one particular route that always comes to mind, literally we finished and we're like, that was one of the hardest rides I've ever done.
But you did it.
And we did it. And then my wife looked at me and said, we should do it again tomorrow. And we did. And I tell that story, especially around the pandemic, because we've got to stop waiting for it to be over and back to normal. We've got to realize that the challenge that we're being faced with now, we have to embrace. We have to enjoy being tested as leaders and manage our business in this environment, and challenge our folks to recognize that, look, after Labor Day, it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be like it wasn't January on Labor Day. It's not going to be like it wasn't January at Christmas either. It's going to be different for a long time. And even when we get the virus under control, right, the impacts of what we've dealt with are going to be different for a long time. Facilities managers will have leaner staff for a really long time while their businesses recover. Restaurants will have different ways of serving their customers. Retailers will have to have dealt with the fact that their business might have changed. Fitness centers are going to have to convince people to come back. All of this is our new normal, and it's going to last a long time. And so, for us as a company, we recognize our first obligation was to our employees. Our second obligation was to our customers. But me as a leader and as an organization, Entouch stepped back and said, we have to embrace what we're dealing with right now, because this right now isn't temporary. And if we treat it like it's temporary, we're going to be complacent and just wait for someone else to fix it.
Yeah, listen, I'm an event guy, so my stuff all got frozen. I'd be normally March, April, I'd be sending out registration, sponsorship contracts. We were bi-monthly. I had March, April in my publisher's column. I said there were very sleepless nights going, what am I going to do? I've got to figure out, I had a digital platform, so I didn't have to reinvent that, but I was really a print guy, and went through the same thing. Didn't want to make sure all my employees were paid, and but really had to figure out, what I wanted to do. And, you live and die by your decisions. When you're the boss, you're the captain, you go down with the ship. If you make the wrong, decision and, you're the Titanic and you hit the iceberg. So and a lot of the people that I've talked to, even when it started, they were all going through contingency plans. What if one of my PM gets the bug and they bring back, what are we going to do? The liability, the lawyers are going to go crazy, and I just came to the conclusion. I said, look, there's no vaccine for the flu, this, that. The bug's going to be here until there's either a therapeutic or they find it. There's going to be no more trade shows for the remainder of the year. And people are just going to have to, depending on what state you're in and with the regulations and who's running it, you're just going to have to deal with, how, and especially if you're in construction, you could be up in, let's say, in Pennsylvania where they had really strict regulations versus here in Georgia where they kept building. But,
Right.
you know, I know some contractors, they just shut their companies down because they would do projects. Someone would get infected. They have to shut it down, clean it up. Then they open up, boom, someone else would get it. If you were in Pennsylvania and you were out on a DOT project, plenty of room. But if you were on doing
Absolutely.
a TI in a mall and you're doing electrical or plumbing where you had to be close, there was no way to do that project.
Right.
So, and I'm having all these conversations with people. But the biggest thing was people realized, oh my God, my people are so productive at home working on
Hmm.
Zoom. They're not burning gas. They're not wasting their time in rush hour. I actually can have faith that they're going to actually work and do stuff. We don't waste our times in hour and a half meetings. We get stuff done in 20 minutes. Um, I can see stuff on the construction site or the facility or the renovation by text, email, and or so forth.
Absolutely.
And you won't even recognize retail in 3 to 5 years. It's going to
No.
be completely different.
Right.
And a lot of people, listen, I feel terrible about all the people that got furloughed and laid off because, believe, as a publisher, I'm getting resumes every day from people that I know,
Hmm.
and I do my best to try to help them get placed, and it's heartbreaking, to be honest with you. But I know a lot of them are not going to be brought back, and one of my cover persons, they had, I think, 28 people. They let 25 of them go. The person I was dealing with was the facility coordinator. And then all of a sudden, I'm having this conversation, and oh yeah, now I'm the procurement, real estate, construction, facility. I said, did they give you a raise? No. And I said, well, listen, you do a good job, you'll be a VP down the road.
That's
At like
right.
32 years old. So
Congratulations.
yeah, congratulations. So work hard and a little sweat equity, and there you go.
Well, and it goes to why you've got to focus on this sort of transformation of the business, right? I mean, that's for us. It sounds like you did exactly that, David. We looked at Entouch internally and said the world's changed, right? We're gonna have to sell differently, right? Our retail restaurant customers and multi-site operators aren't going to want us to come pitch them in their building, right? And
Yeah,
that's, think about bad carrying sales guy. That's what you do, right? They want us to use tools like this. And I think they're going to find out this is way easier than having one of you sales folks come see me. I'd much rather see you like this. So we have to get good at it. And so
yeah,
we're transforming the way we talk to our customers. But what's more important is as we watched as the world came to a stop and retail and restaurants and everything got beat up, we could see such a difference between our customers who had implemented our solution across all of their sites and some who just started, and the benefit of actually having digitally transformed the facility's operation. The
mhm,
fact that they could execute almost in real time, and you're watching these other businesses really struggle, or worse, we had a series of folks that were getting ready to go to pilot. And as we talk to them now, um, you have to step back and say, first, we have to, honestly show empathy for the situation they're in. They're really busy. Some of these are really successful retailers right now. Certain ones really are,
mhm,
but they don't have time to manage anything because they're leaner
yeah,
and they're busier. And it's really, really difficult to try to drive home to them. Look, if you had these technologies in place, you could be reducing the amount of energy you're spending, because right now you're probably getting beat up because your OpEx is out of control and you're looking for something, right? Where can I reduce operating expense? And someone else who's also understaffed in the finance team or at senior level in operations just telling you, I need you to reduce expenses, just figure it out. Right? So you're already under pressure to reduce operating expense, right? You're using too much energy. It's likely the second, after rent, probably your largest expense, and you've just decided it's a fixed expense and you're not trying to dial it back.
yeah. Lighting, HVAC, heating.
Right.
I you know
And oh, by the way, commercial buildings represent 40% of all the greenhouse gases that we
Yeah,
contributed to the environment. And it's 40%, almost 40% of all the energy that we consume. And we all think about cars and refineries because they're great to take ugly pictures of and show all of the pollution. But commercial buildings are actually the easiest target. And most studies, McKinsey did a study that said, if you're trying to reduce greenhouse gases as an organization, the most efficient, highest return is to actually go after building efficiency. And the first thing you should do is go after smart controls to make those buildings smarter, and allow yourself to measure the energy, manage the HVAC, manage the lighting. If you're a restaurant, measure temperature in some of your refrigeration equipment, your coolers, and potentially do some load control on things like high energy loads like fryers. Like we have one of our most forward thinking restaurateurs actually uses our load control to schedule when their fryers come on and off.
Mm-hmm.
There are things you can do. What's tough now is you look at some of these organizations in the midst of what they're dealing with, and they've kind of frozen a little bit. And they've just said, come see me in 2021. And we're having conversations trying to explain to them, look, let us help you right now run a test, run a pilot, show you the return, so that when your organization does wake up in 2021, you're not starting from scratch. You're starting with real results that you demonstrated, even if it's just a handful of your sites, so that when you do have capital available to you in 2021, you can go to them and say, I can reduce energy by 20%, right? I can pay for this in 12 to 18 months. In some cases, we have one customer that's paid for their investment this year, and each site pays for itself in about 7 months. I mean,
my wife's an interior designer, so she does like remodels, residential and so forth. Anyway, we did some stuff at our house, and she put one of these automatic lighting controls on that when you come in, it turns on, then you leave the room, it's on there for a couple seconds, and it turns off. And I was like, oh, we should put that in all the rooms. You know how many times I'm always turning off the lights because I can't stand burning energy, And I said, that was like the coolest thing. Let's put that all over the house. Because you'd be amazed at how many, because you like the lights on. I don't like the lights on it. No one's in that room. There's no reason to have the light on in there. So I'm right there with you.
No, absolutely. Well, I can tell you, I'm certainly eating my own dog food too. I've got Entouch controllers in my house. And now that my college kids are taking college classes from my house, they've let me know they don't like the operating schedules of my controllers. And I've said, well, you know what? It's going to be a little warm in the summer because it's 100 degrees outside. And we're not going to just waste energy by making it 69 degrees. So you feel like you are in the dorm when you crank up the AC because, someone else is paying.
Yes, exactly.
When you measure it, you get the results that you want.
So if someone wanted to get in touch with you about, energy, HVAC, lighting controls, how would they do that?
Well, they could call me directly on my mobile, 214-986-6903. They can also send me an email at jon.bolen, that's jon.bolen @entouchcontrols.com. I'd love to hear from somebody.
Listen, if you're out there, you have multiple sites, and hey, listen, he can cook too. So, maybe you can have a Zoom call and he can do some smother covered, whatever from a Waffle House days. But if you have multi-sites and you're looking for ways, technology to use it to your advantage, to streamline your energy efficiency and cut a few percentage points off your budget, give Jon a call down in Dallas and see, what kind of magic he might be able to, because if you're operating facilities, you all have the same issues: lighting, energy, HVAC. Just like you said, they're all on every budget that you can deal with. I mean, I have electrical and gas here in my house, so it's the same thing. And if you can save a few percentage points, you have 100 locations at the end of the year, you cut a couple percentage points off of that. That's just money that you can put elsewhere to make your company even that much better. So I'm right there. Being efficient is just an easier way. It's just where I used to spend $1,000 on the cover, now I spend a couple $100 because there's digital camera. It's the same thing. It's still the cover, but it's technology, using it to your advantage. We don't use film anymore. It's digital. You can click all day long. So technology is, if you learn how to manipulate it to your advantage, boy, the profits and the earnings that you can turn that into, and then take that and reapply it to other parts of your company that can use that. Boy, that's exciting stuff. I always put things in sports analogies. You always want to finish go across the finish line, ugly or really pretty. It doesn't matter. As long as you make it, it's a win. Mm-hmm. It's the W on the scoreboard. Just like when you did that ride, hey man, that was probably a tough W. Probably the next day it was a little easier W because you already knew it, but you still did it again. Mm-hmm. So, if you wanted to leave one word or thought with our listeners out there, what would it be? Coming out of the pandemic.
I hate to repeat it, but it's embrace the challenge. Right? The pandemic is just today's test. How we respond is going to teach us a lot about how we respond to tomorrow's test. And I work for a company that's trying to change the environment, and climate change is going to be our next test. So let's embrace this challenge so we learn how to embrace the next one.
I like it. I like it. And for those of you who want to get in touch with me, you can reach me at davidc@ccr-mag.com. If you're not a subscriber, you can always go up on our toolbar, hit the subscribe button. We'll get you added. We're always looking for cool stories, project profiles, new products, personnel. If we're looking for stuff for the magazine, we post stuff on all social media. So if you have something really cool, send it to me because we look at everything. So John, you're the energy man. You're the all-star cook. I wish I would have come into that Waffle House. I would have been like, oh my God, I know you.
I know that guy.
I know that guy, But, and of course, look, I'm a Yankee living in the South, so I put sugar on my grits. I got to admit, it's one of those things. But the Waffle House story, that just made my night. That was the greatest story that I've heard on all my podcasts. That was just great. Shorter cook. Oh my God, that was classic. And I know all those Waffle Houses too. Well, Coffee Talk fans out there, thanks for tuning in. John, this was a really stimulating conversation. Like I said, if you're looking for energy help, lighting, HVAC, controls, streamline things, give John a call down or email him down in Dallas. If you want to find me, you know where I'm at. I'm online. Thanks again, John. Stay cool the rest of the summer down in Big D, and stay cool. And don't let your kids get it down to 69. I line up at 74. I think these days. I'm like, what are you doing? Turn it up. And be safe. And
Thank you so much.
I say to everybody, hey, we're gonna get through this. You guys stay positive, be cognizant, wash your hands, don't touch your face, know where you're at. If you don't feel good, stay home. And if you're working out there, work hard, work smart, and just keep your cognizance of your surroundings, and you'll be okay. So with that said, look for us next time on the web. We're on Spotify, Google, and Apple if you want to hear us. I also stream these on the videos and so forth on our social media platforms, and as we post them. So once again, John, thank you for your time. Very informative. His company's called Entouch. Give him a ring. And I'm going to say goodnight. Say goodnight from
good night from Dallas, Texas, guys.
This is goodnight from Atlanta. Enjoy the rest of the summer, what's left of it, and hopefully we'll cool down in the fall. And we'll catch you next time on Commercial Construction Coffee Talk. Thanks for chiming in. See you, John.
See you. Take care.